Never a brand to disappoint when it comes to consistently delivering incredible power and quality instruments to broadcasters, RØDE have arguably been quite comfortable not reinventing the wheel. Until now, it seems. Calling all streamers and gamers, as it's now your time to bask in the glorious RØDE spotlight. All thanks to the newly unveiled and formed RØDE X. Let's dive into this new audio revolution, shall we? Thanks for checking out Radio.co on YouTube. If you want to see more kit reviews, live webinars and handy broadcasting tips, then give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe and click the bell icon. Now, building on RØDE's legacy as the world's leading audio brand for content creators, RØDE X is dedicated to developing high-performance audio solutions specifically for streamers and gamers. Now, this launch marks the first time in the history that RØDE has introduced a sub-brand to its already staggering portfolio. So it's a great privilege to be amongst the first to, give them a little bit of a whirl. Now, first of all, we have two microphones. We have the XDM-100, a premium quality USB-powered dynamic microphone, and the XCM-50, a brand new professional grade USB condenser microphone. Now, the third product on offer is really the star of the show that connects everything together from the microphone to the personality on the screen or on the radio or the podcast, and that's Unify. Designed to be the ultimate audio software for streamers and gamers, Unify consolidates functionality that would otherwise require multiple applications into one easy-to-use solution. Now, this includes routing and mixing up, up to 4 USB microphones or other audio devices, and up to 6 virtual audio sources such as games, sounds, chat, music, and browser applications into one intuitive interface. Now, considering how universally beloved the Rodecaster Pro series has become over the last few years, it was inevitable that the same level of capabilities, features, and innovation would be applied into a digital offering. Now, similar to how the Go XLR by TC Helicon was aimed at condensing all the need for multiple intricate software and hardware into one single mixing desk, Unify by RØDE X appears to be looking to achieve the same thing, but in an exclusively virtual manner. But how does this first outing for RØDE X look, sound, and work like? Let's find out. So first, I guess we'll crack into the XDM-100 here, and this is going to be retailing for about $250, £250. But obviously the first striking thing is the colour scheme, very, very contrasting, very different to what RØDE are typically used to doing, with the whites, the little bits of hints of gold, black. It's very much a case of, this ain't your mama's RØDE. This is something completely different with quite the harsh reds and blacks. And as we pull the sleeve off, it continues again, black, red, very, very striking that this is a completely different product to what RØDE are used to providing. But let's open it up. Again, a nice fancy package here, like a really gift. Take your audio to the next level is the first instructions we get, so great, I'm already excited. And inside we've got 3 little mini packages. So first of all, I'll take the one labelled X. X marks the spot. Maybe. I wish it also marked how you get into the box.
2,000 years later.
Here we go. So what we got inside? Well, we got a muff. So X marks the muff, the sort of wind pop shield there, as well as a cable there for headphones. Kind of monitor them. So excellent. So that's our first little package. Oh, it's like Christmas, isn't it? The next little box we've got, it's a bit more obvious about what is inside this. This is your shock mount. There we go, nice weighted thing. So again, for $250, not only are you getting a really good high quality dynamic microphone, but you're also getting one of their standard shock mounts to get onto your boom arm. So we'll be using this very, very shortly. So already it's looking like a pretty worthwhile bundle. We've also got underneath the actual USB powered cable, because it's a USB-C cable here. And the final one, here we go. This is what we've come to see, not me awkwardly rearranging everything on the table, is the microphone itself, as evidenced by the picture here. And inside, wow, look at this. Now that my good friends, is a nice looking microphone. Again, you know, very reminiscent of the Rode Procaster. They're one of their old flagship XLR microphones here, in a very much a USB powered state, which again is very similar to the Rode Podcaster, which was their white plastic built USB dynamic microphone in a very similar vein. But it's a very, very weighty microphone. It's feels very durable, very well built, and it looks really nice. So boxes aside, let's go and crack into the XCM-50, which is going to be retailing for around $150, £150 here. So it's this slightly cheaper option, and you'll see kind of the difference and I guess the inspiration that this one took. You know, I say that's the XDM, very reminiscent of the Procaster, the Podcaster microphone as well. This one looks already very, very familiar. You know, I think we've done a review on this before. Looks very much like the Rode NT USB, at least from the pictures anyway. But let's have a look. Again, this ain't your mama's Rode. This is something completely different. So, okay, so more little mini packages in here. First of all, we've got the all-important, again, USB-C power cable to get it up and running. We've got a nice little rock hammer, maybe just to, you know, hammer in how much that we appreciate Rode. Look at that. Nice little sturdy tool. I'm being stupid. It's an awesome little tripod. And again, a very durable. This absolutely does not feel like just a cheap afterthought. So this is a really sturdy tripod. We've got, of course, the nice little whiskey case style box containing a microphone, hopefully. And again, we've got the extension cable for your headphones. Here we go, right from the top, and yeah, there we go. Gorgeous once again. So, as I say, taking inspiration visually, at least from the NT USB minis that we've reviewed and used, I guess, multiple times. It's been out for a few years now. But yeah, they're very much a condenser microphone in USB form that's aimed, I guess, to be as a tabletop microphone, as well as I say, show you it in action very shortly. But yeah, it's simplistic. That's what Rode do best, at making something really elegant and gorgeous and high quality, but keeping everything simple. So here we go. Here's the microphones here, and once again, the XCM, as I mentioned, just to reiterate, does contain the Unify software as well. So there's no need to pay anything extra for that. So as you can see, the Rode XCM-50 and the Rode XDM-100s. A lot of words, a lot of X's, but yeah, we've seen what they look like. Let's give them a whirl.
Well, here we are, hooked up and ready to rock and roll with the Rode XDM-100 microphone. And I know I've only said a few syllables here and there, but I hope you can already hear how much of a good quality build this microphone is. For me personally, I feel it expertly complements the lows and the mids in my voice, and that's often the case when it comes to Rode microphones. And in fact, you know, professionalism and high quality is across the board, you know, regardless of whether it's something considered more entry level, like I guess arguably the XCM, which we'll cover very, very shortly, the NT USB that it's sort of visually modeled after, or, you know, even things, you know, the pod mic, the XLR microphones, you know, the Rode Procaster, things like that. Always great sounding microphones. It's reliability which Rode have sort of built their legacy on. And in speaking of legacy, I mean, the XDM, it features all of Rode's trademark qualities by presenting itself with premium circuitry, Rode say, which features, you know, Rode's ultra low noise, high gain Revolution preamp, which therefore gives out high resolution, pristine audio quality. So in layman's terms, if you missed all of that, it means it's pretty good. And as I say, hopefully you can tell and hear that already. Because that's another thing, you know, they seem to invest a lot in Rode is, you know, the ability to create their own expert preamps. And there are a couple of features that you can add onto your mic to make it sound better. In fact, I've got all of these preamps and processors on already. It also features a very studio-grade dynamic capsule and tight cardioid polar pattern, which you might be thinking, what on earth does that mean, Phil? Well, I mean, it's obviously it's the directional, the scope, the cone of how your voice is captured, and particularly with this being a microphone aimed at streamers where they're going to have their computers on a lot, lots of keyboards and mouse clicking, it offers excellent clarity with superior rejection of background room noise to hopefully get rid of those keyboard and mouse clicks and things like that. So the idea is that this Rode X microphone, despite it being brand new, a brand new brand rather, this is the professional choice for gamers and streamers looking to get off to a very, very strong start. Now, for the broadcasters amongst us, it should also dampen the sound of any scratching, tea slurping, and gentle tapping whilst quietly jamming out as well. So it's not also just aimed at background noise caused by gamers and streamers alike. And of course, you know, if you've got, I know we've got a lot of padding behind us, but the great thing about dynamic microphones is that doesn't matter what sort of space you're in, it's going to concentrate on your voice and really project it in the most efficient way. So even if I was just in a little box room with nothing really padding out, a lot of sound bouncing around, which may very well be the case if I do start streaming and gaming myself. I'm very confident that none of that sound is really going to interfere with my streaming. It's just concentrating on my dulcet tones. So here we are, suited and booted with the now XCM-50. And again, instantly I can obviously hear a huge difference just due to the environment that we find ourselves using a condenser microphone. You might also see I'm a little stooped just because this is a bit of an awkward table really, so I wouldn't imagine doing this strange table setup for when you were streaming. Otherwise I'm kind of streaming like that evil guy from Lord of the Rings, you know, the King's Advisor. What's his name?
My lord, Gandalf the Grey is coming.
But yeah, you know, the great thing about condenser microphones in general, the best way to tell the difference between the two is whereas that dynamic microphone is very much honed in on its subject, kind of blocking out a lot of background noise. Condenser microphones are perfect for picking up everything really, and not in a bad way, but it's picking up things like nuances in the room, you know, any sounds that could be around me. It picks up my voice in a much more natural way. So whereas using a dynamic microphone, I might think that my voice sounds bassier than it necessarily is, whilst speaking directly into a condenser microphone, I know that that isn't necessarily the case. So yeah, dynamic microphones are great if you are in a much more soundproofed environment, but I mean, we'll get back to that in a moment. But, you know, as you can hear, the XCM, I think, too, follows suit in providing a very professional grade of sound quality for streamers, you know, with a build not too dissimilar, as I mentioned earlier, with the NT USB Mini. Now, as I said, you know, whereas a dynamic microphone such as the XDM hones in on my broadcaster's voice, it's less sensitive when it comes to picking up nuances and environments, and a condenser microphone kind of will work wonders in the opposite direction, giving you that natural sound, as I touched on a moment ago. Now, we don't typically like to use condenser microphones in this particular room because, as mentioned, you know, it's not the best padded room because, well, for a start, you know, you've heard me go on about this enough, maybe there'll be a revolution sometime, but you know, we are recording right in the middle of a Manchester high street in an office with lots of single glazed windows, so yeah, it's not the best room to really, hide a lot of the sound going in and around us. That being said, if we were to move to the sound booth, we get a much clearer sound. So as you can see, it's bouncing around the padded, comfy, delicious sort of sound booth that we have here in the office, and it's giving me arguably a much warmer, more natural sound to my voice rather than, I say, the focused, processed sort of dynamic sound that I'm typically used to. And welcome to Unify. So this is what you should be able to see when you have logged into the software, not necessarily for the first time, because the first time you do enter it, you will actually go to the channel assignment, which will be there. And then that will allow you to obviously choose what devices you are going to be using, or rather what inputs you're going to be using for your stream or your broadcast. So, you know, we had the XDM-100 plugged in, so that's available as a choice to either add in or remove. We've got browser, music, chat, game. If you don't want to use any of these, it's just a case of removing it. Like so, and then of course if you do want it in, just drag it into place. It doesn't matter where you put it, it's just a case of you deciding that's what you want to use for this broadcast. And then when you're ready, click finish, and yeah, once again you are facing the Unify screen, ready to stream. So here we go. So this is the homepage of Unify, as I said. We've configured what we want to do. We've chosen the inputs that we want to use for our stream or our broadcast. So it's just a case of, I guess, just refining them a little bit, deciding the volume levels for each one, and really just making this a live stream that we want to be proud of. Now, by using Unify with the Rode X microphones, it allows you to unlock the full capabilities of them, first of all. So including the ability to add in Aphex audio processing, compression, and sound effects, just to name a few. So if I just click, first of all, on the XDM-100 here, this allows me, as I say, to choose things that have a noise gate, have a nice little tool called Big Bottom, all too familiar with that one. And yeah, and obviously just changing all the gain levels and just really having a little go at changing how this microphone sounds for you. So already there was a difference there in the voice that I was producing there, but I do like everything being on, just to give it a bit more of that broadcasty feel, as a awful way of putting it. But yeah, so this just allows you to really change and customize the way that the microphones, the XDM and the XCM, work for you. So say, yeah, we're happy with the microphone as I am. What I need to do now is just change, obviously, the audio levels for it. So I can go a little bit higher, add a bit more gain, a bit down there like so. But yeah, as I say, this is really allowing me to, again, just adding in the ability to customize the sound of my microphone. Enough about the microphone. I've talked into it plenty enough, rambled on about it plenty. So how do we actually configure various inputs to work to our advantage using Unify? So what you want to do, first of all, is come to your settings here, which will show you the window settings here. So as you can see here on the camera, we have various apps ready to use. We have Google Chrome, obviously, because we want to tie that in with our browser. We've got Spotify ready to play an excerpt of a podcast. And we've even got Zoom. So, maybe I've got a guest on Zoom that I want to use, and, they're a co-host that I want to channel in, or someone I just want to have a chat to, or a guest maybe. I want to funnel them into the chat. So all you do is configure it all. Again, just to point out as well, while I am on this, the Unify software at the moment, at time of recording, is only available for Windows computers. So if you are a Windows user, great, you're in luck. They do say it will be available for Mac at a later date, and at the moment, there's no plans to make Unify available to iOS and Android. So at the moment, very much strictly a Windows platform, which is why I'm in the sound settings specifically of my Windows computer. But you can see here, you want to keep the input device as default. The output wants to be obviously where you want it routing to. Back on Unify here, and as you can see, I've got each of these. Now I can mute each of these feeds. So if, for example, I didn't want to accidentally play a clip from my browser tab, which in this case is actually YouTube. We've got the Radio.co YouTube channel. So if I just press play on a video.
And thanks for checking out Radio.co.
But you see, if I was just me playing a clip from a browser window here, of course it was a bit too loud, so we don't want it like that. We want the browser to be a little bit lower, and we want to play a clip from, again, carrying on.
Software and supplies your IT. Simple, stress-free, and lucrative.
Well done, Phil. Couldn't say it better myself. So yeah, that works as well. I've routed the browser audio through to that. Nice and simple. What else have we got? We've got music. So as I say, I've got tied this to Spotify. I'm not going to be playing any music through Spotify. I'm actually going to be playing an excerpt from my podcast, would you believe it or not? I've not done episodes for ages, but there we go. Find it if you want to. Along Came Poddy. Now, I cannot remember for the life of me whether when I press play, some profanity is going to play. So, it's just to give you a little idea. Fortunately, we were up to a bit of the theme tune there. We've had enough Phil already. But as you can see, it just played a little snippet there from YouTube. So again, if I just wanted to play a clip of anything that I was permitted to use, I funneled Spotify through to Unify, just like so. Now, you'll see here it says sounds. Now, it's pretty much a vague term. Now, what on earth do you mean by sounds, Phil? Well, in the context of Unify, it actually means sound effects and soundboards. for that. But yeah, there we go. So it comes preloaded with a lot of sound effects that you can use here. So we've got a selection of them, and you've got the ability to add in any more that you like. So if you had intro and outro piece of music like I did there with the start of my podcast, if I would rather play that out at the start of my show or to end my show, again, I can just program it into here and play it. Again, going back to the Go XLR by TC Helicon, that had pads that you can pre-program something in, and even the Rodecaster Pro has the ability to do that as well. So again, it gives off that genuine broadcaster feel, the ability just to hit a jingle or an ad or an ident, or again, just a silly sound effect like that. And that's it really when it comes to Unify. It's a very, very simple platform. I mean, you can adjust different levels if you want to change it for the likes of streaming. So this is strictly my streaming setup. If I was recording something, again, I can change it specifically to have it for different settings for my recording. So of course, if I was doing, playing a little clip of something or a sound effect, I might want those levels different to when they are actually streaming. And I can also change the feeds as well, how I listen to it from my headphones, how I can monitor it. So you get a real good personal perspective of when it comes to, how are your audience listening to it. So you can really get the streams, really slick, really smooth, and ultimately very, very professional for whatever environment you find yourself streaming in.
So the first outing for Rode X is certainly an impressive one. Sure, the two brand new microphones, the XDM and the XCM, are impressive and sound great, as is always the case with Rode, but it's genuinely the Unify interface that is the front man of this new outfit, making it the most user-friendly, intuitive way of broadcasting, streaming, and everything in betweening. Despite streaming being something that arguably goes a little over my head, I am aware of how much added equipment, cables, software, and effort can be typically sought after to make it possible. Again, the Go XLR is a fantastic example of a great piece of kit that is capable of condensing everything into one physical mixer. However, Unify goes one step further by taking out the need of any hardware at all. Aside from the microphones, of course, it's that simple to use. It's easy to use, it's quick to get going, and a professional, friendly, encouraging road to travel for those looking to break into multi-platform live streaming. So if you've ever thought about expanding on the reach and capabilities of your radio station, then by golly, now is the time to give it a crack. But that's just what I think, of course. What do you make of the new streaming microphones from Rode? Do you think they'll work just as well for your radio shows or podcasts? Is Unify a better tool for broadcasting live? What does your current streaming setup look like? Let me know in the comments below or over an email via studio@Radio.co. And that's all for now, but please make sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more reviews, webinars, and top broadcasting tips. And until next time, take care and happy broadcasting, or streaming. And just before you go, how would you like to launch your very own online radio station? Surprisingly, it's a lot simpler than you may think. And the absolute best way to get started is by chatting to myself or another member of the Radio.co team. To do that, just head to radio.co/demo to schedule a video call with us, where we'll discuss your plans, answer your questions, and of course, guide you around the Radio.co software.